Have you ever felt like you see things other people don't? Like you notice patterns, problems, and lies no one talks about? If yes, listen carefully, because people like you don't get rewarded. They get rejected. This isn't a theory. It's been happening for thousands of years. Socrates was killed for it. They called him dangerous. His real crime, asking questions that made people uncomfortable. And Schopenhauer, one of the darkest, sharpest minds in history, knew exactly why this happens. He believed intelligent people don't just annoy society, they scare it. Because intelligence isn't just about knowing more, it's about seeing what others refuse to see. And when you point out the truth, it breaks the little lies people live by. That's when society turns on you. Not because you're wrong, but because you're dangerous. Stay with me. You need to hear this. Most people think the world is built on logic, fairness, and reason. But Schopenhauer didn't buy into that for a second. He believed that deep down, people aren't driven by logic. They're driven by instinct. By what he called the will, an endless, blind, and irrational force pushing people to survive, to desire, to chase what they think will make them happy. And here's where it gets dark. Most people don't want to see the truth. They don't want to know how meaningless, fragile, and chaotic life really is, because if they did, it would shatter the illusion that keeps them moving. Schopenhauer said, "The more unintelligent a man is, the less mysterious existence seems to him." The average person clings to simple explanations. They chase status, wealth, relationships, anything to distract themselves from the deeper questions they don't want to face. And society, it's built around keeping those illusions alive. Go to work, buy things you don't need, stay busy. Don't ask too many questions, because the minute you do, the minute you start seeing how empty most of it is, you stop playing along. And that scares people. Why? Because intelligent people threaten the system. They see through the fake smiles, the empty rituals, the lies everyone tells themselves. And when you stop pretending, you make other people uncomfortable. Not because you're mean or difficult, but because you force them to confront the emptiness they're running from. Schopenhauer believed this was why intelligent people often feel isolated. Not because there's something wrong with them, but because they refuse to lie to themselves. The world values comfort over truth, and the few who chase truth over comfort, they end up on the outside looking in. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. It's easy to point at society and blame the crowd. But the truth is, you've done this too. So have I. We've all ignored things we didn't want to face. We've all chosen the easy lie over the ugly truth. Why? Because it's safer. Schopenhauer believed people avoid truth for one simple reason. Truth hurts. It shows you how small you are in the universe. It reminds you that life isn't fair, that your plans, your dreams, your status, they don't mean as much as you think. It strips away the comfort you cling to, and most people can't handle that. They pretend not to see. They laugh at people who ask dangerous questions. They stay busy chasing money, followers, and approval, so they don't have to think too deeply. And here's the part you have to face. You've done this too. You've ignored warning signs. You've made excuses. You've lied to yourself to avoid hard truths. We all have. But the difference between the masses and the few is that the few eventually stop running. They turn around. They face the discomfort. That's when everything changes. Schopenhauer believed most people live and die inside the illusion, but the ones who wake up, those are the people society fears the most. So what happens when someone refuses to play along? When a person keeps asking questions, keeps pulling at the threads holding the world together, and refuses to pretend everything's fine, society turns on them, not with open attacks at first. It starts with jokes. They'll call you weird, a downer, too serious. Then it turns into exclusion. You'll notice people stop inviting you to things, stop asking for your opinion, stop listening because you've become a mirror. And people hate mirrors that show them something ugly. Schopenhauer believed intelligent people hold up a reflection of reality, and when the crowd sees it, they don't thank you. They blame you for making them feel weak, small, or lost. Look through history. It's the same story. Galileo said the earth moved around the sun. The church threatened to kill him for it. Not because he was wrong, but because he broke the illusion that earth was the center of everything. Even today, people attack thinkers in different ways. If you challenge popular ideas about politics, money, relationships, or happiness, you get labeled a hater, a pessimist, a problem. Why? Because you're a threat to their comfort, and most people would rather stay blind than feel uncomfortable. That's the breaking point, where society stops pretending to love intelligence and starts trying to silence it. So what happens when you hit that breaking point? When you realize the world isn't built on truth, it's built on comfort. When you see how most people spend their lives avoiding hard questions, chasing distractions, and clinging to shallow goals. Schopenhauer believed this was a defining moment. A moment where you stop chasing approval and start reclaiming your mind. See, Schopenhauer didn't think the solution was to fight the world or force people to wake up. He believed in something else, stepping away from the noise. He wrote, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom." To him, isolation wasn't loneliness, it was freedom. Because when you're alone, you stop playing society's games. You stop chasing status, fake smiles, and empty conversations. You finally face yourself. And most people, they can't handle that. Why? Because Schopenhauer believed most people live on the surface of life. They distract themselves with money, pleasure, and shallow achievements. He said, the ordinary man places his highest good in sensual pleasures, wealth, and rank. But intelligent people, they see through it. They feel the emptiness behind the endless chase. And when they refuse to play along, society labels them cold, arrogant, or difficult. Schopenhauer knew this would happen. He believed that people naturally fear those who expose the illusions they depend on. That's why, for the intelligent person, solitude is essential, not because you hate people, but because you love truth more than comfort. In that solitude, you start to rebuild. You stop needing approval. You stop chasing shallow victories. You learn to think clearly, to see life as it is, not as you wish it was. Schopenhauer believed that once you confront the truth about human nature, the irrational blind will driving people's actions, you finally find peace. Because now you stop expecting the world to make sense. You stop expecting people to be honest with themselves. And you start focusing on what you can control. Your thoughts, your values, your clarity. When you come back into the world, you'll see it differently. You'll recognize most people are still trapped, still running from the silence you've learned to embrace, but you won't hate them for it. You won't envy them either, because you've built something they don't have. Clarity, a clear mind, and the freedom to live without their illusions. That's what makes intelligent people truly dangerous. And that's exactly what Schopenhauer was trying to show us. Now you have a choice. You can go back to the safe lie, keep your head down, fit in, laugh at the hard questions, stay comfortable, or you can accept what you are if you've always felt like an outsider, if you've seen things others ignore, if you've questioned the rules you were told to follow. That isn't a flaw, it's a sign you were never meant to be part of the herd. You were meant to walk alone. Schopenhauer believed real intelligence always leads to isolation, not because you're broken, but because you refuse to be blind. And if that scares people, good. Let them be scared, because the only thing worse than living alone in truth is dying surrounded by people who never knew who you really were. Now, it's your turn. Stop apologizing, stop explaining, own the mind you have, and never let them shame you for seeing the world too clearly. If this hit you, if you've felt this way your whole life, subscribe now. This channel isn't for the crowd. It's for the ones who see too much and refuse to stay quiet. And trust me, you don't want to face this world alone. Join us. Let's build our own corner of clarity in a blind world.